Um, so you chose to write about the connection between you and Nadia. Tell me a bit more about your friendship when you guys met, and your subsequent friendship after that, especially because she's also based in Berlin. Is that right?
Yeah, she's based in Berlin. I met her in 2018 at Lange Foundation with the show that like Burger Collection, like they make the show of their collection at the museum. And Nadia actually was showing the work that I was writing about. When I met her, we just talk about everything, and we just suddenly got like, oh, that's a click, like a lot of ideas or like things that we perceive, or the sensibility that we have. Somehow we are like going for kind of like similar stuff, so we kind of share similar interests in our works. And since she is living in Berlin, so after the show we also meet from time to time, and yeah, we developed a really great friendship. And I remember that before I met her, like Monique from Burger Collection, she always tell me that, oh my God, you have to meet her. You guys gonna be like great friend. I was like, yeah, maybe. Like, but like when I met her, I was like, oh wow, they're right. Yeah. So somehow, yeah, we're still seeing each other like from time to now. Is a bit difficult, but like we exchange a lot of great ideas.
Have you guys ever collaborated on art?
Actually, no, but we sometimes just like talk about different things, and then we say, yeah, we should do something. But I think a lot of things, yeah, maybe in the future, like we share a lot of, I don't know, like common values, or when we're looking at the world, like how we look at the world. And I really appreciate what she's doing, and she's like, I mean, she's a lot more experienced than me, and she has been working in the art world for like a lot longer than the time that I spent in the art world. And yeah, so I'm still like learning a lot from her, and but she's also like, oh yeah, let's do something together. Maybe we do some shows together, or like some work, even like work together.
I mean, also in your essay, I remember reading that you talked about wanting to use writing as a way to find connection between both of your practices and to kind of understand the practices further. So in writing this, what lessons did you pick up from it?
It was quite good for me to have a chance to analyze it, because we always say that we have something similar, but like we never put it into paper, and we just feel it, we sense it, and we also know it. But like I think words and like writing is very helpful for artists to understand better, like to organize our mind, or like to dig deeper like into certain issues that we are working on, like what exactly are we doing, and why are we doing it, and for what reason, and why do we have like similar interests and sensibility. And what I learned would be like I don't know, it's like floating, or like the whole flow just when I was writing, it was just like floating, and was just writing what I think about the work, and then somehow the writing is telling me back like what I can see from the work. Because when you have to look at an art piece and really just like think about it, and think about also like the artist, somehow like it helps me to understand her work better, also my own work better. We tend not to write too much about our own work, but somehow I think it's a good practice for us to find out the reasoning and why do we make certain kinds of decisions too.
I think that's why I found your piece really interesting, because sometimes it really is difficult to analyze your own work and to find out why you make decisions that we do. And because you mentioned the similarities between the two of you, I thought maybe in writing this, it helped reflect on your own practice too. So I'm wondering, for your next project, do you think you will see something new come out of this, some new reflection that comes out of it?
I think so. I think I always get like new ideas or like new understanding of my own artwork from other people, or sometimes by myself through writing. And like whenever I have like a show, and if I'm in that city, I will also bring friends and like different people, or do some guide tour to talk about how I got inspired and like what led me to do something like this and what do I think about it. But then the audience always give like the best critics or like the best comments that like I've never thought of. Like they would just think of like I was also like working on like in the piece I was writing about the glass. And I think audience, they were giving me a lot of interesting idea to analyze it. For example, the thickness of the material, like how secure is the material and what kind of translation the material is translating into something which is totally different. It's in the end, I was talking about fragility. That's the reason why I use glass. But when the glass is thicker, then it's also more secure than being fragile. But like there is also parts which are more fragile because the wound of the bullet holes is not that deep. So like these are the things that I didn't think about when I was producing the artwork, but like through the reflection, I think these are very important for me to learn more about my own work. Like in the end, I think like the work itself is working there, like and then is in different time and space, it tells you different things.
Tell me a bit about the work you have in Asia Society.
It's a new work that I'm having right now at Asia Society. It has been a long time that we've been working on it. And in the very beginning, we were thinking about like they want to do a commission work, and then we keep on like talking and just figuring out what, because it's like, okay, there is a new thing that you can do. We have a framework, like what would you like to do? So I was like, I would actually like to express my feeling like towards the world, or like towards like the situation that we have been watching and seeing and experiencing in that time. So like I think with 2019, I think with the Hong Kong protests, or like with so many other events, like in Australia, the fire, or like right now coronavirus, I think it's a time showing how small and how I don't know how small we are, like as human and as individual. So somehow like there are certain kinds of powerlessness dealing with like the whole world like that. And I started to think about the act of falling. So in the end, what I did is to duplicate myself. Some people find it very funny. I'm duplicating myself 3 times, and then like 3 of me like falling at the same time, and in the end it's not falling, like got like stuck in between. And for that work, I think I was investigating more like falling, and also like how we would be able to understand falling collectively. I also I duplicate myself instead of doing like different people. Like I was more thinking about, if we need to fall, I need to start by myself. Like I need to fall by myself first. And yeah, so somehow like and I call it falling carefully. Like it's an act that we cannot avoid in our life, but how we can pay cautious to it. And it's not only about the physical falling, but like also the falling of oneself, or like the falling of the world.
Yeah, that's why I'm looking forward to seeing it. I saw photos and it was really interesting to see you.
Yeah, exactly.
What is it made from?
Like mostly like yeah, it's a bit weird. They have even human hair there. Human hair and silicone mostly, I think. Yeah, and there's also like clothes that we buy, and inside we also have like 3D printing structure. Yeah, so this is like that was her exciting. I mean, that was also like, oh, printing my own self 3 times is quite funny.
Great idea. Thank you so much for contributing to the book.
Thank you for having
amazing
me.
to have you be part of it.
I sent her the article and she really liked it. Yeah.
It was beautiful, and the way you talked about her works, it was very deep understanding. But it was personal, and I think that's where I could understand the link between the two of you really well.
Yeah, she's an amazing woman. Like she's just such a great artist, and also I learned really a lot from her. That's why I want to even learn more.
It'd be interesting to have her write in return next time, actually.
That's true, actually.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
The dual conversation is very interesting.
True.
And that was the whole purpose of the idea behind the book. I wanted to bring out the voices of artists and how they see art and other people's works.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, because we actually do have lots of things to say.
Yeah, and I mean, artists often feedback each other in private conversations and friendships.
Yeah, we do it
mentors,
a lot. Yeah.
But we tend to the public does not see that, or even, curators and journalists don't necessarily see this.
That's
it's
so
often
true.
behind doors. Yeah.
Yeah, we often talk about especially when we're developing ideas, we talk about like how, oh, I don't think this idea is good because this is it and that, and then, or like, I think it's amazing and that's why. But we trust artists. We only, in a way, we trust artists a lot. Like among artists, like, okay, like what do you think? I need your opinion. So I think this is a great idea to let public to get to know. I have some friends, they have a lot of opinion, and also if you have a good friendship, then they are willing to tell you, because I think
to be truthful.
To be truthful, because otherwise, like, it's actually quite difficult to just say something like, just to be critical in a way, like I'm not so sure, and this, oh, who are you? So I think it's more about trust and friendship and how we support each other in the community.
Yeah.